Hey athletes, Andrea here. I'm super excited to give you this material today because no one else has this material. This is balance and agility training for people who want balance and agility training confidence on hikes. So here in Phoenix, we have hikes like, everywhere. And so it's always something you can do with your family, and having the confidence to particularly go downhill without feeling like you're gonna crack your knees or crack your ankles or something like that. This right here, I am going to demonstrate to you a progression of exercises that you can be doing to train yourself, to give yourself the confidence so that you know you can just like bust down those hills if that's what you wanna do. All right, so the first one I have in here, let me just have it handy so I can see it. The first one, basic, you just want to be able to balance on one leg. So balancing on one leg. And then if you're twisting like this, you're setting yourself up to lose. So you want to have your hips level. Then we don't move the eyeballs because the eyeball moving is a huge progression. So you want to keep your eyeballs focused. When you're ready to move your eyeballs, that's a huge progression. But first, we want to add like this kind of stuff. So we add, movements like arm movements. You can add leg movements where you're starting to, so we're just in a static position, and I mean by static is not locomoting, no locomotion, and you're just practicing these things. All right, then you can move on to, then you can move on to some extra moves. So now you're going to change your center of gravity a little bit more. So you can go up and down. So adding, and then make sure it goes in all planes of motion. You're not just forward. You're trying to mimic like any kind of changes in your center of gravity on one leg. All right. Another thing then you can do is start adding some locomotion to it. And right here in my little backyard, I have a little crack in that, you can see that, a crack in the sidewalk right here. So I can just start practicing walking on my balance beam. So you're adding some locomotion to your balance. Now the pace, the change of pace could make a difference for you. So you can go faster or slower. Then the next thing that you can add is add some external resistance. Now I have a band, and I forgot to bring my dumbbells out here, but it could be dumbbells, kettlebells, anything like that. I really like a band because it really is pulling you over. And by the way, grip sling. So I protect my band. So another great use for a grip sling. Love that tool. Anyway, so I can hold my band this way, and it's wanting to pull me over. So I'm working against, an external force trying to push me over while I stay on my balance beam. So I'm gonna walk through, and obviously, as it gets tighter, try to turn and look at you as it gets tighter, it gets harder. You didn't see that fall because I was out of the camera. So you can have that. You can have, pretend this is a kettlebell. You can have your, like an unevenly weighted this way. So you have, a weight in one hand or an object in one hand that's weighing you. So you're having to prevent yourself from tipping on your balance beam. So you're working locomotion against with some kind of external resistance. All right, then we're gonna start adding some more movement to this. Now, strength before power, but that doesn't mean you don't work on your power. You still want to work on your power, but you still want to develop some strength. So you do want to do some strength training. You want to do your squats, your single leg squats, your things like that. Super, super important for your balance and agility is your strength training at the same time. But we can do bounding. So, so you can just end up doing like one leg to a bound and stick, to a bound and stick. And again, we want all planes of motion, to a bound and stick, right? You can go down and back up. So I'm gonna go, let's see if I'm gonna be in the camera. So I'm gonna go down off my step and then up. Now just kind of watch, how far you wanna bound down. This is a super low step. But again, moving the eyeballs is a progression. So you do want to stay focused at first. So down and then back up. Down and then back up. Or you can go the other way, of course. You're going to go up. This one is easier, by the way. Up. So bounding up is a lot easier on the joints than going down, but going down is absolutely necessary because going down is where you fall. So you need to practice in a controlled environment, which is your home, so that when you're out in the uncontrolled environment, which is your trail, you're going to be set up better. Okay, so bounding and then bounding laterally. So you also want to go side and side, side and side and side. And you notice I'm bounding and sticking. So I'm really bounding and sticking. One of the things that I really ask people to do a lot of times, you'll go bound, lose your balance, oh, and then you go, oh, lose your balance. Oh. So I ask people, be balanced before you move. Learn to be balanced before you move. You're going to so set yourself up to win on a trail or something like that. Be balanced before you move. Be balanced. So no matter where you are, be balanced before you move. Even when you're doing like a repetitive, set yourself up so when you start doing repetitive, you're feeling like you're not just always catching your balance every time you move, because you don't want to get into that, you know, I'm out of control. Okay, so also you can have hurdles. I don't have hurdles, but I do have like little toys that I just brought out here. You can create anything that might look like a hurdle for you. And then you would go like, I would do like repetitive hurdles. So like this one, I'm just gonna have to go over it. And then back, over it, and back. But you might wanna do like a repetitive thing. So imagine I had like a whole bunch of hurdles along my sidewalk here. And then, you know, just imagine I'm gonna go over it, over it, over it, over it. And then, I lost you. Or you can go laterally through them. So it goes over it this way, and then you have to kind of step both feet in. Over it this way, right? Over it this way. Step both feet in, right? Over it. So if you have hurdles or something you can make up, you can just use chalk on the sidewalk. It's just something that you're consciously going over. I do like having something you have to get over, so just mentally knowing you don't want to hit your shin on it is good. All right, so hurdles forward, laterally. All right, then I brought these guys out here for an unstable environment. Always good to practice like on an unstable place. So going back to the first one leg balance. So I'm gonna do like a static balance eventually. I start adding more, and then I start adding more dynamic movement. So the goal is be balanced before I move. So I'm going to practice changing. And remember, moving the eyeballs is a progression, so eyeballs is pretty difficult. If you don't have, I just thought like sometimes I'll just use a mat. Just hold up the mat. The mat's pretty unstable, and I'm gonna work on my unstable environment. A lot of people will get a Bosu. Bosu's pretty good. They are meant for bounding on, so they should be strong enough for it. So you can do your bounds up and back. Standing on one leg on the Bosu is really, really hard. So you would have done your homework to make sure that you're able to stand on it without, you know, just falling every single time. So you work on your static balance, and then you work on your dynamic or bounding type stuff. So remember, always going to progress from easiest to hardest. You wouldn't introduce this until you've done standing on the ground first. You wouldn't introduce a bounding move until you know you can be still on it first, right? So you always go easiest to hardest. Then the last thing, I think, I did a lot of things where I'm like sticking. So of course, then you would maybe want to do more repetitive, like the hurdles, or could be more repetitive, or the Bosu, or like just down and up, down and up. And it's just this constant, you know, or whatever, a step. It doesn't have to be the Bosu. It could just be like a normal step where I'm just gonna go like up, down, up, down. I really like I really should do depth jumps too. Depth jumps, you don't really work on the balance much. But the one leg down, down, down. So you're, that would be like repetitive as opposed to letting it stick. All right, so lots of progressions for you, a couple of tools. You could make sure you get some external resistance of some sort on sometimes because it kind of mimics gravity kind of pulling you down off the mountain, something like that. So yeah, I'm super excited. So this is balance and agility drills for people who want balance and agility confidence on the trails while you're hiking. All right, I can't wait to see you on the trails. Talk to you soon.